once again. Welcome to the Perceptional, elevating all your senses, expanding your curiosity. So plug in now as we welcome your host, Dr. James Denito.
Welcome back, episode number 8 of The Perceptional. Well, you never know what's going to come on this show, but today it's all about pandemics, your health, and your fear. Yes, you should be very scared right now because the government told you to be so. But we have some weapons for you. We have tools. We have insight. And today we have brought along an amazing representative of a major nutrition company. Now, Stephen Garza, do you like to be called Steve or Steven? Doesn't matter.
I'll go with Steven.
All right. Stephen has made a choice in life, and over 5 years now, he has been in a vitamin nutritional company representative spot. Now, he could have gone and made a lot more money working for a drug company and doling out who knows what kind of poison to the world, because there's over 100,000 drug company reps and they still need more. He chose, however, to take a more noble pathway in the nutrition industry. The company he works with, Designs for Health, he is going to tell you his title and the roles that he plays helping this company's products get to the market out there. So let's start off by you telling us why you went into this field in general and how you chose this particular company. What is it that makes you excited about getting up every morning?
Sure.
Even though I know this is a stressful job,
Right.
dealing with the world as it is right now and trying to convince people how to be healthy. But what would you start with on that question?
Sure. So I think, I actually had a spiritual encounter back in, I'd say 2006, when I moved up to North Texas. And that spiritual encounter that I had, I experienced, what I would say God for the first time in a tangible way. And ever since then, some sort of hunger came along with that to try to want to experience optimal health. So that's kind of where it got started. And that kind of just kicked off a bunch of researching. And the more I learned, the more I grew hungrier to discover more. And so it just began with a bunch of research over the years. And then I started taking some courses within my university and then some additional courses after I graduated. And then once I was done with college, I went straight into working with a nutraceutical company. And I've been with a few companies over the years. In a variety of roles, usually having to do with education, training, and sales.
Okay. Is there a lot of competition for these type of jobs, or are they hard for those companies to find good help like a lot of companies do right now? Because
Sure.
It takes a lot of specialized training. You just can't walk off the
Right.
street and say, hey, flip the burgers here.
Right.
So-
Especially if you're working with a professional line like myself that sells specifically to healthcare professionals. I would say the industry I'm in, healthcare practitioners, nutritional supplements. I would say it's pretty competitive, and you have to have quite a bit of experience and track record, and kind of know your stuff when it comes to nutrition.
So the company you're with is Designs for Health. Tell us about this company, why you think they're special. I do, because I use a lot of their products, and we're going to help you get access to those products. When we get through the podcast here, you'll see some amazing links and discounts. So what's the story about Designs for Health?
Sure. So Designs for Health, I'd like to say we are the leader. We are definitely one of the leaders in the professional nutraceutical space. And for your listeners who don't know, nutraceutical is just a fancy word for professional nutritional supplements, typically used in the healthcare setting. But we are one of the leaders. We've been one of the trusted companies for over 30 years. The company started back in 1989. Originally started off as a team of nutritionists that were offering nutritional counseling and a lot of education, focusing on supporting patients dealing with a variety of health conditions. As time went on, they began incorporating nutraceuticals or nutritional supplements into their practice and into their consulting. So much so that they thought to themselves, we should create our own, something that is of the highest efficacy, something that can be trusted by fellow clinicians. So they decided, let's create a brand by us clinicians for other clinicians. And that's kind of where Designs for Health started.
As far as manufacturing, then, does the company produce and manufacture its own products?
We do. The vast majority of our products, and we have over 300 plus items, the vast majority are all manufactured in-house.
Okay.
From the beginning of the process to the end of the process. There are a handful, that we might outsource just because there's some specific ingredients. We like to use a lot of ingredients that have, patents or a lot of clinical studies. And if somebody out there already has something really great, instead of trying to reinvent the wheel, we might just, incorporate one of their ingredients into our products. But
I'm noticing across the board more and more back orders, more and more waiting times, I guess, for ingredients.
Mm-hmm.
What would be, in your opinion, the biggest reason for this? Is it the weather in China or the war in the Middle East? Mm-hmm. What's going on with the supply chain?
I would just have to speak from, my personal opinion and guess. But what I'm told typically is it's the cost of certain ingredients is skyrocketing. And so sometimes companies have to, look for alternative sources or comparable sources that are just going to make more sense financially. Another thing is also the supply chain. Just on and off over the last few years, it's been a little up and down compared to years in the past. And that's made it challenging to even just get a hold of certain things.
And of course, that's basically when you see costs going up of raw materials, then you got to figure, well, what would drive that? Weather problems in the area, economic stresses, especially political things. So it still all comes around to that. Every company's dealing with this, and we at our office will try and use as many different companies as possible to bring the best products in, but we're finding that we're getting close to almost half of the products we're offering are coming from Designs for Health because of the quality. Like you guys put everything in a glass jar. How crazy is that? I mean, those things can break.
Right.
We've seen that. Then you got to keep eating the cost on
Right.
that. But it's a glass jar, a brown colored one that
Right.
does a lot more to preserve the product, right?
Sure. Yeah, we switched. We at one time did use plastic. In a few years, we made the decision. It was more costly, but we knew that having dark amber glass bottles was going to create a healthier product. There's a lot of talk out there about how plastic has the potential to disrupt the endocrine system and can act as a fake xeno type estrogen. And we're in the health of helping people out, so we want to make sure that the products we're offering aren't going to be causing other issues. So
Right.
we made that decision.
Well, when we get into the packaging and supply chains, it still comes down to when the rubber hits the road, are the products working? And there's a lot of good science. Every time he'll bring a new product to my attention, there's a tremendous amount of research behind it. Products that are so vast anymore on the market, I'm still not sure why we need drugs at all in the world when you see what the nutrition industry has matured into. It wasn't that way 42 years ago when I started, but today there's hardly any excuses for people not to want to start there. And there's still no excuses for the medical profession to be as ignorant as they continuously are about what the nutrition industry can offer, or even outright criminal about lying about it, but they do. What we're going to do today is talk about a couple of the products, and we're also going to talk about some of the tests this company now offers that'll help people decide where they want to go. So these are take-home kits. If you hand me that box over there, I'm going to show them on the camera. You're going to get a box no bigger than this. And inside, it's simple. You're going to collect some urine. You're going to send it off directly to the lab. And you're going to get back a plethora of information about your metabolism. Now, some of the test kits involve some saliva swabbing, but none of them involve blood, right?
That's
because
correct.
we're just home kits on here.
That's correct.
So we're taking easily sheddable samples from you, and we're going to look for things like on the metabolism one, for instance. I use this one probably the most, where it's like me going to the garage and sticking a little instrument in the tailpipe of the car, analyzing the exhaust gases, the waste, the inefficiency of that engine, and then those things can be walked backwards to how the engine has to be tuned. So a urine test looks at the spillway of what the urine will have in it. And from there, this company has taken a very complex test that used to be very, very expensive, right after being a book like this, looking at the metabolism of all these what we call organic acids. Now, they are different than amino acids and fatty acids and metabolic acids, organic acids. So tell us how the company organized this in a report where the average person can read their own report and learn what's going on in their body by looking upstream, so to speak.
Absolutely. Yeah, so it's been something that the company has talked about for quite a while, is wanting to. They really believe that precision medicine is the future, and by precision medicine I mean offering recommendations based on data on results specifically for the patient, rather than more of just kind of a guessing approach, I guess you could say. Not that that's always bad, but they just really believed in having this precise lab results.
There's a scoring system on this test, and the test can basically break it into categories such as detoxification or your brain chemistry, so to speak. But what is different, I guess, the way this organized algorithm has been set up is it appears to me that this is one of those things where a patient could walk away with 30 things to take based on how other companies do similar type of home kits.
Right.
But the algorithm on here seems to hone it down to how the systems overlap. Did Designs for Health specifically ask for this particular algorithm, or was it out there and they said, hey, that's for us?
We have people on our scientific advisory board that are very into the informatics and the algorithms and genetics, that have been working on this type of technology for a while and using it in other areas. And they wanted to incorporate it into a Designs for Health product. But they wanted to simplify it, because sometimes these types of tests can be very complex. And like you mentioned earlier, it can require hours of interpretation. They wanted to really kind of, if you'd like to say, bring it down to maybe layman's terms or to the meat and potatoes, so that they're easier to implement and interpret.
So if we get a result in there, I found when I put some of my patients' data in front of me, I can count usually on one hand the targeted things that this person may really need. And why would these products be necessary if a person says, I don't understand.
Right.
I'm a good eater. I take supplements. So what does this really reveal about a person's metabolism then?
Sure. This test, in particular, the metabolomics, it goes over 5 key areas. It's really going to give you a good baseline of how well this individual is functioning. That's why we like to call them functional wellness tests versus a diagnostic test. And so these areas that it breaks it down into is energy metabolism. It's going to give you a peek into, how well this person is producing cellular energy and ATP. It's going to look at the different pathways involved in that, the Krebs cycle. It's going to look at their B vitamins, at their nutrient status, to see if they're optimal, if they're suboptimal. and their nutrient levels. It's going to look at their nervous system and their neurotransmitters to get an idea of their hormones and, how are their brain chemicals functioning. Are things converting properly? It's going to give you an idea of why somebody may be out of balance in these areas. Toxic impacts, how well the body is removing and eliminating toxins. And then it's also going to touch on digestion and some different microbial, metabolites in the system, and whether it shows that there may be some imbalances or some areas needing support.
So it looks like we're breaking down the intrinsic and extrinsic factors. Intrinsically would be that if a person thinks they're doing everything right, we might reveal a genetic vulnerability of how something is running through the assembly line. Extrinsically, a person may not be aware that their environment is really toxic for them. And if they see that burden on their system, then they're going to have to take an extra level. When I was chainsawing the other day, I came home and doused a bunch of glutathione because of the exhaust gas of the chainsaw. So you can compensate in many ways like that. But genetically, though, there's another test kit that picks up the genetics. So tell us about that one.
There is. This one over here is called our Genomics Spotlight. This one is going to be a DNA-based test. What it is, it's going to look at a variety of potential what we call SNPs, single nucleotide polymorphisms, a fancy word for genetic mutations. So it can look at the patient and kind of see if they have weaknesses in any particular areas. We know the good news is that your genes aren't your fate. The body has the ability to turn genes on and off, express the healthy genes by having healthy lifestyle behaviors. So the goal of this is to see if the patient may have any weaknesses in any particular areas, and then we can kind of be a little bit more precise on where we're going to support and strengthen those areas in order to ensure their bodies and their genes are expressing optimally.
And when I see us putting these products in, results come quick when you get it right. You don't need to say, let's do it for 6 months or even 3 months. 30 days, 60, you're going to see enough changes. And if you're not, you start to have to be a good clinician and figure out, this is a lot of information, but what else do I need to understand here? And is there another nutrient pathway that is more exotic? Is there something in this person's diet and lifestyle that is still unknown and is becoming a troublemaker? And you wouldn't believe the role of emotional stress anymore, folks, as to that's why we're going to talk about one of product today that's going to help people a lot with that. And it's got a fascinating history on it as well. The third test kit is for the digestion.
GI. Yep, it's called our GI Spotlight. So our GI Spotlight, hence the name, this one is going to look at a variety of, bacteria that you have, whether commensal, friendly, good bacteria, or negative, unhealthy bacteria, just to kind of get an idea of where your microbiome is. Microbiome, just the balance of your intestinal digestive environment. So this will really help somebody know if they possibly may be out of balance, have too much of the bad bacteria, which may warrant, some sort of therapies to, maybe some antimicrobials or something along those lines to mitigate that. Or it might even show some weaknesses or likelihood to maybe having what we call leaky gut, which would be just poor intestinal lining that can contribute to a host of a lot of food sensitivities and other, autoimmune-like reactions. So there's a variety of things, but it really just dives into the status of your gastrointestinal health.
We have an adage in chiropractic, ADIO, above, down, inside, and out. So what is above, down? Well, that could be just everything from a person's faith and confidence in the universe to the nervous system's ability to coordinate, organize, and allow flow of that neurological information. But the inside and out part, that's where you get into the inner skin of the body, sinuses, lungs, gut, got over an acre of surface area, folks. And when we get into understanding that gut, that boundary, we understand a lot of boundaries in the system, all the way up to the blood-brain boundary here. And so this will help maybe spank your hand a little bit if it shows you're getting too much of sugar in the diet or an inflammatory food. Certainly we'll get a guide to certain probiotics that we can put back in to start inoculating the good guys in there. We saw some recent studies now showing certain bacteria profiles are capable of inducing Alzheimer's phenomenon in people. So that's kind of scary when you think that you could catch Alzheimer's from somebody, but it's a little more than that. You can catch malaria if a mosquito bites you, but you trust your immune system on that. Let's get into some of the products that I want to highlight today out of the hundreds that this company has. We're going to focus these products on what is important now at this time of humanity, this time of the year, this time of politics, you name it. What are we seeing a lot of? We're going to start with a product called Lithium Synergy. Now, lithium, a mineral that does more than just help the car batteries work or the batteries in these cameras right here. When they started understanding the need for lithium and started looking for more and more deposits around the planet, they found that they needed to understand the risk to the people if they're going to start mining it around there. But they started finding folks who had high lithium area of in their water, aquifers, in their soil, their plants. They were living a lot longer than the rest of us, by 5 or 10 years in some areas. Lithium's not a secret to longevity. In the turn of the century, 1800 to 1900, lithium springs were all the rage. There was a lot of foods that had lithium in them. And in 1929, a beverage came on the market that had 7 particular features about it that was uplifting to the spirits, and it was lithium-based, and it was called ultimately 7-Up. They took the lithium out of 7-Up somewhere between 1948 and 1940, maybe 1950 at the latest. And that makes me wonder, too, when you see the young people craving something for their brain to calm them and focus them, and we gave them these Monster Energy type drinks with lots of stimulating chemicals in there, including caffeine. What we probably should have done is resurrected lithium beverages. We've been seeing the lithium products on the market growing from fractions of a milligram all the way up to 20 milligrams or more. The Design for Health company came out with a product called Lithium Synergy. This allows us to get a good dose to the person and have some of the complementary factors in it. So tell us first what's in Lithium Synergy that makes it unique.
Well, obviously there's lithium as the primary ingredient, which is a trace mineral. It's really important and involved in your neurochemistry and helping support your healthy neurotransmitters involved around having a healthy mood. But aside from lithium, we also add a couple cofactors, nutrients such as vitamin B12, and then another nutrient called TMG, trimethylglycine. And those two basically, they kind of work to help support healthy methylation, which is just a conversion process in the body of converting certain compounds to other things and recycling things properly. But they all work together with lithium to help support optimal production of neurotransmitters.
And especially the ones that we need to stay calm in the storm of life right now. We always think of the prescription lithium, which was extremely high dose, 20 times higher than most of these products will have, 10 times certainly in others. And it's not just for bipolar manic depression. It's a very powerful stabilizer. So we talk about how many people are not sleeping right or anxiety during the day. So we're using a lot more lithium in this lower dose and yet clinically significant dosing with the cofactors in there. And boy, oh boy, once I get your head down to earth again, head on straight, whatever you want to call it, we now have a person who's ready to be healthy, who's receptive to changes in their diet and lifestyle here. So we're using a lot more lithium products, and there's not many out there that put other things in there like this company does. Most of them just put some lithium in there, and it's going to bully its way through, and we don't know if that's any better than just licking the battery if you're desperate for lithium on there. So product number one, Lithium Synergy. The second product this was driven by a lot of what happened in the pandemic, and that is the assault on the inner skin of the body. This is where the virus of COVID, the coronavirus actually, was shown to have an affinity for the lining of the vessel system and even surfaces of the lung. We call those ACE receptors because of where there's a role in blood pressure. Now, these viruses are not the first that have attacked the vascular system. There's all kind of things in nature, venomous things, toxic things that have an ability to get at the vascular system, either clogging it all up or liquefying it. But we see in our office people who've had that boundary breaking down, and their bodies have blood pressure issues. Their bodies have connective tissue problems to their skin sagging and the disc in their spine blowing out. One of the biggest obvious things that COVID gave people was hair loss. And that was one of those direct results of the loss of the vascular nature of the body. So we decided that let's take a fresh look at hair, skin, and nails. Yes, those are all connective tissue, but so is blood. Blood is connective tissue as well. And we have found that the HSN product, I think that's HSN Complete, was one of the more comprehensive formulas on the market, and it was right under our nose. So what are some of the key ingredients of HSN that you think are maybe very important or maybe unique to that type of blend?
Sure. So one of the key ingredients in here, again, this is a hair, skin, nail product, but, along with targeting hair, skin, and nail, it's the same mechanisms, the same nutrients that are involved in your connective tissue. So one of the key ingredients in there is MSM. That's a form of sulfur that is shown to be very supportive in promoting a healthy inflammation response, helping support the body in recovery after injury, and just helping with the production of connective tissue. So that's one of the key ingredients. Another one would be something that probably a lot of viewers are familiar with is biotin. That's a B vitamin. It's been known for a long time, to support healthy hair, skin, and nails. And particularly in the beauty industry, it's really been pushed a lot and known for hair in particular. Some other things we have in here we have some antioxidants. We have a variety in there, everything from grapeseed extract to olive fruit extract and even green tea. And these antioxidants help protect the tissue from stress, oxidative stress, stress to your cells, things that just happen from our environment, our lifestyle, stress, emotional stress. Kind of helps combat and protect the body from those things. And then lastly, it contains bamboo extract. And what's important to that is bamboo extract is a natural source of silica. And the mineral silica has been shown to help stimulate collagen, which is what a large portion of our body is made of. It's kind of the glue that holds us together. Also stimulates elastin, which is what keeps our skin supple and kind of bouncing back if you pull your skin and let it go. And then also keratin. Silica stimulates keratin, which is the protein involved in your hair.
I got to thinking about panda bears. My mind drifted when you said bamboos is the source of silica. We always used to have companies use horsetail extract, and the bamboo industry. Silica is hard to get in your digestive system. They have to be putting it into specific forms to properly absorb. But all said and done, when you fortify that boundary system, that connective tissue, whether it's structurally holding you together or communicating like blood does in here, these are how we stay healthy, because disease is a failure of your immune system against something sooner or later. And the boundary system of lungs all the way to your blood vessel lining, gut lining, all this is going to be helpful with a product like this. So they'll probably have to rename it after I get done promoting it to something more comprehensive than hair, skin, and nails. But I'm sure the government will probably come after me if I say the anti-COVID vitamin special, something or other here. So we're going to stay with the hard fundamentals on this thing. And lastly, AccuForce Blue. Now, the key here, blue, is I think the most important thing that we've learned in science in the last few decades about how our brains are functioning, especially. So tell us why the word blue is in AccuForce.
That's a great question. So the word blue is in there because of the abundance of blue light that we're being assaulted with nowadays. And by blue light, I mean light from your phone screen, light from your computer, light from even some light bulbs. This artificial blue light is can be toxic to the system and can cause a lot of stress to the central nervous system and particularly the eyes. So this product has been formulated to help us protect the eyes and help the eyes better filter blue light and protect from some of the stress that it may cause.
Blue is good. We look at the sky, it's blue. How could that be bad for us, we might say? There's even blue on the Martian sky if you let the filters go away that NASA fools you to thinking it's all red over there. We have to have a spectrum of colors, and people were researching light long ago. It goes way back to a guy named Ott, and they figured out the light bulbs going into schools to fluorescent lights was starting to change the behavior of the kids already. They didn't understand it, so they just put full spectrum bulbs in. We're using a variety of lights in here that are LED, and those are the worst unless you pay extra money for them because they have much, much more of this blue frequency in there, even though it looks white and it's making me squint right now. It is a light that has a certain value, all of this, during the day, and only so much of it. Beyond that, if we start missing those other color frequencies, things are not going to vibrate, so to speak, the way they. Remember, we're just light, folks. We are an illusion of light. That's all the atoms are in the body. And so these particular frequencies are important. But this product is designed to protect us from this. Does it protect us just in our eyes, or is there places that'll help us? Does it help us in our blood vessels, in our liver, you think?
I definitely think there's potential there because the formula is comprised of a variety of antioxidants, so they have far-reaching benefits. We have some fat-soluble antioxidants in there, which are the antioxidants that are better absorbed through the fatty areas of the body. So we know that's going to work in a variety of areas. We also have your water-soluble antioxidants, which are going to support a variety of things as well, such as your vessels, like you mentioned. One of those in there is maquis berry, bilberry, ginkgo. Those have been shown to support healthy vascular walls, healthy vascular integrity, and supporting optimal blood flow. The benefits go way beyond just the eyes.
That's the stuff I came across in my research, where sure, we have, all of us, our eyes are getting worse as we get older, and this will protect us. But I've learned long ago that the retina and the eye is a mirror into your overall vascular structure, your liver's health as well. So my choices are I put this into my product to protect my patients from the ravages of a lot of these inflammatory assaults that are coming onto our body here. And some of these antioxidants are kind of exotic. The maquis, or I think that's how I'm pronouncing it right, that was a new one to me. I tend to think of some kind of monkey picking a berry from this thing. I don't know what part of the world it comes from, but I don't think many of us have maquis berries growing around here. Right. And there's another reason why some of these products get pricey. God knows what part of the Amazon they had to go to get that ingredient to bring to you some of the best products out there for the vascular system. I'm going to read this label here because, my eyes still aren't perfect enough yet. So here I am using glasses. But I didn't need them until I was almost 50, so I'm doing pretty good. Yes, it was the lutein
Yep.
and the zeaxanthin. Those are your fat-soluble ones.
Yep.
So they only absorb
Carotenoids.
in oil. So they're in part of the carotenoid family. And those are, and even astaxanthin, if I'm not mistaken, that's what makes salmon's muscles pink. That gives them the ability to swim all day upstream for days looking for love and never running out of energy because of the endurance of how it recycles waste products. And there's another example of how a product that says it's kind of for your eyes, but in my office, we're going to teach you all the other things you're going to benefit from, and that might be more endurance in the gym or just running away from the authorities when they see you're trying to do some kind of vaccination avoidance. Okay. And you can run all day as long as you got to sit in there like the salmon swimming. Okay. Now we're going to talk about how do you get some of these products. These products today and hundreds of others that we teach about in our office, or if you take those tests, which you can also get through that dispensary and we will help interpret them. The product access, you've been able to go online and order vitamins from all kinds of sources, especially Amazon on here. But you'll have an advantage by having the knowledge that if you go to the dispensary that we're using, that'll go under my name, I'll be able to establish a rapport with you, especially if you're not one of my patients, and you order something and you would like some guidance on how to take it. So that's the first advantage. The second advantage by creating an account at the Designs for Health dispensary is we'll be able to offer you some discounts. And there'll be a different code that we'll put in maybe for a show or per the month. And you'll have to contact our office. We'll have several links for you to go because, folks, just the average person cannot get in and get discounts on vitamins, especially the good ones that we can offer you. So we have to establish a portal, so to speak, that goes through my office, and then we can screen and see if this person is not going to try and buy 1,000 bottles and sell them on the internet. That would be bad for everybody. So we want to make sure we have people using them for themselves and for the right reasons. So we want to be able to guide you. We also want to be able to protect the company. And that's just good business, folks. There's nothing hard about that. So ultimately, at the end of this show, we will have, I'll probably find a way to digitize it right in front of me right now, the link that you'll find, but it'll be at the end of the show. And some of the platforms we're on, you'll be able to find that link easily, such as YouTube. Maybe not on the Podbean one, possibly on the Spotify. And I'm not sure I'm going on Rumble yet. That contract scares me, so we'll see if we go on to that company or not. Anything else you might want to add about the dispensary, anything that we have to give people guidance on or any cautions on, or does that pretty much cover a lot of that?
I think it's pretty straightforward. It's just it's a very convenient way for a patient to be able to get products. They can place their order themselves. Shipping has a very low for free shipping has a very low minimum, I believe about around $49.
All right, that's a big one. And how about people, even auto ship, people can set up something like that
People
too?
have that option as well.
Okay, great. And when you get on there, man, you're going to see a lot of stuff. I'm still learning everything. And every time Steve comes to see me, I have to take a breath because there's just so many things this company has, and I've got so many things that we're trying to make available. And sometimes a new good product, I got to bump something I was comfortable with because it's better price even, and we're trying to always offer the best products at the best prices here. So Designs for Health is going to be a really good option for everybody. And you'll be real excited about the company once you get in there and see the wide variety of information you'll be able to look up. You can understand and research about products too. They'll give you technical information if you so need it on there. All right, we're going to start wrapping up today's show with some last minute thoughts for you. Okay, today's thinking is important. But we don't think enough. We don't think enough of this stuff through, and we don't want to overthink it. What I want you to think about, though, is this one simple concept. Disease is not an option. That is a few words. Put it on a bumper sticker. Disease is not an option. It's almost like failure is not an option. They would say that about the space shuttle. You can't fail launching that baby up there. I have 42 years of listening to people saying, regrettably, how they would have done things differently if they'd known this outcome was coming. So disease is much better to prevent, from cancer to you name it, than it is to fix it once we're there. And with that, wrapping up episode 8 of The Perceptional. So I bid you good day, America.